Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Just want to get us started. I'm Carolyn Powell. I am the Development Director here at Tronconi & Segura, and just wanted to welcome you for joining us today for our lunch presentation of QBO, Boost Your Financial Efficiency. So I just want to go over a couple housekeeping items before we get started. There should be a toolbar towards the right-hand side of your screen. In there is a question section. You can pop in any questions throughout the presentation and we'll get those answered for you. Or you can put in there what you're having for lunch today or that aha moment throughout the presentation. Let me know when that hits you. Put that into the questions for us. Also in the toolbar is a handout section. There is a copy of today's presentation in there if you want to download that on one of your other monitors. And also Eva will be doing some tricks and tips. And she does have that in there also if you want to grab that before we get started. At the end of the webinar today, we will have a survey for you to complete. It will automatically pop up on your screen if you want to let us know how the webinar was, if you have any questions, or if you want to set up a time to talk with any of our experts. And then this afternoon, I will send you an email with a link to the recorded session. And again, a copy of the presentation if you want to go through it again or share it with a colleague. So that's a couple things today on the housekeeping side. Let me know if you have any audio problems, throw that in the question box. I'll be keeping an eye on it. Otherwise, I'm going to turn it over to Chuck to get us started today.
All right, thank you, Carolyn. Hello, my name is Chuck Pizzino. I'm a partner at Tronconi & Segura, and I also oversee our single source accounting practice. For those who are unfamiliar with single source, our practice is a part of Tronconi & Segura. Single source focuses 100% on client accounting assistance and outsourcing. We specialize in the use of technology to streamline our clients' accounting practices. We help our clients spend less time on the rigors of bookkeeping and accounting and allow them to focus more time on running their business. We are thrilled and humbled by the number of attendees joining us today. We'll endeavor to provide valuable information on QuickBooks and complementary applications. On this slide, you'll see our speakers for today. Margaret, Steve, and Eva are all part of Single Source Accounting. And Debbie has generously agreed to join us from our Tronconi & Segura small business practice and share her expertise on Bookkeep, one of the complementary applications we will be covering. So before we begin, we'd like to ask a polling question just to develop a baseline of what our audience is currently using for financial reporting.
I am pulling that up for you, Chuck.
All right, thank you, Carolyn. If you could just take a minute and just click the most applicable application that you're currently using, and if what you're using isn't on the screen, you can choose other.
All right, so it looks like people are filling it out for you, or most people are using QuickBooks Online. We got a couple desktop people there and a couple people on others, so I'm not sure what that is, but we will close out the poll in 3, 2, 1, and let's see what that looks like. All right, so yes, looks like almost everybody's online, Chuck.
All right, thank you, Carolyn. Well, it's good with a webinar titled QBO that most people are on QBO. For those that are on desktop, we have some very interesting information for you. I won't steal the thunder from Margaret. Yeah, I promise there are no more polls. And then on this next slide, you'll see our agenda for the webinar. So you'll kind of see what we'll take you through in the next hour. As Carolyn said, please type your questions in the chat anytime during the presentation, and we will do our best to save time and answer them during the Q&A. If we don't get to your question, we will respond to you as quickly as possible outside of the webinar. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Margaret King.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to have you here. We have a full hour scheduled for this, and we have a lot to get through. So this is a look at what we'll be talking about today. First, outsourced accounting. What is it? How do you know if you need it and how would you get it? QBO, Tips and Tricks by Eva. Everybody's anxious to see what she's going to pull out of her hat. Tech stack integrations, Steve will be guiding us through that. And then finally, as Chuck mentioned, Debbie is here to talk about Bookkeep, which is very exciting for anybody who has multiple channels of revenue. Chuck also spoke about the questions and answers at the end, so please don't forget to type into that box whenever you want to. Okay, so outsourced accounting. Sometimes you'll also hear it called CAS, Client Advisory Services. So have you ever had an employee retire or go out on medical leave, or you may have a large project that you just really need more hands to get it all done, or you've gotten behind and you just really need help catching up? All of those are perfect reasons to use staff augmentation, which is part of our client advisory service practice. In this particular case, you would be, someone would go right to your location and assist you with whatever your needs were. If you're a remote client, we can also do remote. Either way, especially with QuickBooks Online, you're able to log into your account as needed. Also, there are many of you have started your own business because you're entrepreneurs and you want to make a real impact in industry. And so it's important that you work on your business and not really in your business. So that's what outsourced accounting can do. We can go in and provide recurring services for you, and that would look like bank and credit card reconciliations, proper categorization of your expenses. Usually that comes through on your credit cards. And also we would be able to record anything in your journal for your journal entries, especially those pesky payroll journal entries, which get a little confusing. But let's say you have a crackerjack accounting department and you say, I don't really need CAS, but maybe you still do. Because oftentimes your great accounting department will get a little bit behind and have a hard time getting statements to you on a regular basis and in a timely fashion. So then that's when the outsourced controller or CFO might be what you need. This person would be able to come in and produce financial statements for you and go over them with you on a regular basis so that you know every month what the status of your company is. And it would also be able to help you with making strategic business decisions. So we at Single Source take great pride in trying to assign the right person for the job. And here we participate in many, many industries. So we have manufacturing, professional services, not-for-profit accounts, medical facilities, service providers, retail, and even U.S. subsidiaries of foreign corporations. So, and it's important to realize that since Single Source is a part of Tronconi and Segura, that any special needs you may have, from sales tax to the latest accounting pronouncement, can be handled seamlessly with our tax and accounting specialists. So now let's talk about examples of when you would need outsourced accounting. These are common that we see within our client base. So if you look in your trial balance and you see a balance other than zero in your opening balance equity account, that means that you have a problem. And it was probably from when you first set up your account, because debits always have to equal credits. And if you're left over with a number in that account, that needs to be taken care of. Also, as I mentioned before, if you have not done your bank or credit card reconciliations, they need to get done. And that is very important for internal banking, to make sure that you have internal controls. That's what I was looking for. And also, you might have some issues with accounts receivable, accounts payable, that all your detail doesn't match the total that's in the trial balance. So let's make sure that all of those can be accounted for appropriately. And so those are definitely signs that you would need to give us a call and have us help you with these individual issues. Okay, hold on, Carolyn. And then finally, in the news, this is what's important with QBO now. The most important thing is that QuickBooks Desktop will not be sold to new users after July 31st of this year. Don't worry if you already have Desktop and you're happy with it. As long as you renew your subscription, you will be fine. But anyone that is not in the QuickBooks universe, by August 1st, you will have to start with QuickBooks Online. The only other option for you is a desktop version, which is Enterprise, which is quite robust and may be a little bit more than what you need for your business and a little bit higher, with a little bit higher cost. It might make it a little less affordable. Also in the news, QBO can now upload journal entries. Now this doesn't sound very exciting, but it really is, because up until now, QBO has always been able to upload vendors, customers, different transactions, inventory items, but not journal entries. Well, they have finally solved that problem, and we're very excited that it can now upload journal entries, which makes your life much easier. QuickBooks Online has made a commitment to keep developing its functionality so that it will become as robust as you need it to be. And some of that is in functionality for paying bills and other ways that Steve will talk about later that will help you if you're not such a large business, and maybe you could use just the QuickBooks Online version rather than having to spend additional money with the outside apps. So now with this, we'll turn it over to Eva with her tips and tricks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eva Killian. It's nice to have you all on a webinar today. I'm going to go over some tips and tricks to help you maybe be more efficient in your QuickBooks file or do some reporting for your clients that you might not have done before. So my first tip for you is the QuickBooks sample file. This is really helpful for new clients. If you haven't used QuickBooks before and it's something that you're looking into, this is a way to go through the process of looking into QuickBooks Online without having to pay. It's also really good for trying a new feature you haven't used. If you are a QuickBooks user and you have a file and you want to try a new report or something different in your billing, you can use the QuickBooks test drive, and then you're not doing it in your actual file. So to get to this, you're going to go to Google, and it has to be Google, and you're going to type in QuickBooks test drive. It's the first link that comes up. From there, it'll direct you over here to Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. This is what everyone gets to use. Now, if you are a accountant user, you would go here to the cog, and from the cog, you would select sample file, and that's if you're an accountant user. The next thing I'm going to show you is number 2, keyboard shortcuts. One of the quickest ways to be efficient is to minimize the amount of clicks you have. So to get to keyboard shortcuts in QuickBooks Online, you press Control, Alt, and then question mark. And that will pop up all of the different keyboard shortcuts you can find in QuickBooks. So if you're going to create an invoice, you can select Control, Alt, I, and it will automatically pop that up. Let me show you what that looks like. So we're going to go Control, Alt, I, and instead of going through the options on the left to get to an invoice, the invoice pops right up. The next section that you can use is number 3, data entry shortcuts. So if we go in to a check, and you can do this on any thing that has a date population necessary. I will also mention this does work for QuickBooks Desktop as well. It's not only an online feature, it is cross-functional across QuickBooks. We're going to go here to the date. And for date shortcuts, there are a few. The first one we're going to cover is year. So the word year starts with the letter Y. If we type in just a Y, it automatically populates to 1/1 of the current year. If that's not the year you're working on, click Y again. It's the previous year. And it'll continue to go. We can go to 2017 very quickly, and you're not having to toggle through these windows. So conversely, if you're doing year-end work, which a lot of us do, and you need the end of the year, the word year ends in the letter R, so you would type the letter R, and now you're at 12/31. Again, this is just making those little changes that make a big difference when you're inputting data. This also toggles up, so now we're in the year 2029, so you can use those in a multitude to toggle through. The next, it also works for months, so think of the word month again. It's going to be the same concept. The letter M is the beginning of the month, so now we're doing 5/1/24 here, and then the end of the word month is H, so you have 5/31/24. That's without doing any clicking, just one single keystroke. And then the last letter that you can use is T for today. You've seen me use it a couple times to toggle back to where we were. Typically when you're putting in a check or an invoice, you're using today, so that would be the letter T. QuickBooks also has some AI automatically integrated, so if you're trying to type in a date, let's say you're doing something for tax day 4/15, you don't have to type in 2024. You can just use the tab button and it will auto-populate the rest of the date for you. So those are some really easy data entry shortcuts that you can use when you're inputting different things in QuickBooks. Again, this works for any date that needs to be filled in, and it is cross-functional between all QuickBooks programs. The next thing we're going to talk about is tags. So tags are something that can be used instead of classes and location, and this is really helpful for some different reporting, and it allows you to have some functionality from a lower subscription. So let's say you have Get Star or Essentials, and you don't have class and locations. Tags allows you to pull some reports based on that information. So what does that look like? Let's say that we have a company that has an online store and a brick and mortar store, and they'd like to view their P&L based on where the expenses and the income is coming from. So we're going to choose a vendor, and we're going to type in, this is for our brick and mortar store. So I'm going to type in Buffalo and add it as a tag. You'll see it's added when it's gray. And we did meals for everybody. Okay, we did meals for the office, so we're going to save and close that with a tag. We're going to do the same thing again and put another bill. Okay. We're going to do some computer equipment that we bought for our online store. So under tag, you're going to type in online and add it. Once that's added, you're going to continue filling in your bill, and then you can save and close that. Now, for just to show you purposes, you can also do this with invoices. If you have an invoice coming through, your brick and mortar store, so we have our brick and mortar store is Buffalo. The tags that you create will pop up underneath once you've created them. And they needed some concrete. Okay. And then we're going to do one more and I'll show you what the reporting looks like. So this is for our online store. They had some designs made. You would input the rest of your invoice. So now what does this look like? How does this help? If we go into report and you go to your, you go into your reports and you want to go into your profit and loss by tag group. And here you're going to see the Buffalo location has total income of 5,000 with total expenses of 500. And you'll see the net income as well by location, or in this case by your tag. That's what tag we decided to use. And then your income, expenses, and net income by your online location. Again, this is available to all levels of QuickBooks Online users, and it does help facilitate that reporting when you don't have class and location options. Number 5, we have bookmarks. This is a personal favorite, and it is this little icon right here. You'll see bank transactions under my bookmarks. Bank transactions has a bookmark. We can take it off by unclicking the icon. Personally, I always have bank transactions clicked on. I always have chart of accounts up there. I do a lot of AP work, so I also always have vendors. This allows me to quickly access the things I use the most, and this is going to be different for every person. So this is a great way to not have to go through the little bit of clunkiness in the menu when you're looking for different things that you use multiple times a day. Number 6 is reordering or reorganizing the bank feed. So in this example, I have MasterCard checking and savings, and that doesn't really make sense for me. I prefer things to be in the order of the chart of accounts. Makes it a little bit easier for me to search through. So for me to move this MasterCard to the end, I would go to where the account is listed. I would go to the caret, reorder accounts, go to the edit, and then physically click and drag it to where you want to be. So I want it after savings, so I put it there. I have checking, savings, MasterCard, and then click save. Exit out, and you'll see that it has updated. So this is a great tool to use to order your accounts in a way that makes sense to you. The next tip is number 7, which is sending reminders. This is a very helpful tool if you have accounts receivable that are lagging, or you're really trying to help push how their payment frequency is coming through a little bit more rapidly. You can go to sales, all sales, and QuickBooks Online has an option to send reminders to any and all customers that you would like. So in this case, I want to send reminders for invoices, and I want to send them only to overdue invoices. From there, I'm going to click this button here. It's going to select all of the open overdue invoices that I have. And under batch actions, I would send the reminder. Once you click send the reminder, it automatically sends it to everything that you have selected. You can click this one at a time and send a reminder. You can click a few at a time. Let's say I only need these that are from April. I want to only send those. I would send a reminder this way. Now, the verbiage on reminders is different than the email and verbiage that is sent to the customer when they first get their invoice. And in order to change what that is, you can go to the COG and account settings. You would go to sales, scroll down to reminders, click the edit button, and under default email messages for invoice reminders, click this caret. And here you can decide what you want to say. Again, it's subject line reminder, and you can say anything you'd like. And you can change that messaging as you see fit. The next tip is side-by-side screens. And while this may not sound like anything that shocking, I'm always surprised that people don't know how to put their screens side by side, and it's really helpful when you're looking at reports. So if we go to reports and I want to look at a balance sheet, but I want to look at the balance sheet and the P&L at the same time. How would you do that? You have a couple options. Currently I am on Bing, which is this web browser that I'm using. So I have the option to right click, and inside Bing they have a split screen window, So I would open my balance sheet on one side and my profit and loss on the other, and now I can scroll through and compare these and then click through however I need to. This is a great functionality that Bing offers, but if you don't have Bing or you don't like using Bing, I will say that it's not the preferred platform from QuickBooks. They would prefer you use Google Chrome, but you like what you like. And clearly I like Bing. So if you're not using that and you still want to go side by side, you can open one in each tab, and then you would, if you are a Microsoft Word user, you would click and drag this tab to the right hand side, and you'll see it'll come up as like a little pre-window that's half your screen. Then the other half, you put your profit and loss, and you do the same. So now you're in two different Bing windows, but you're still side by side. And then lastly, if you have a Mac, on the top left-hand corner where you have a red X, a yellow line, and a green plus, you would click and hold the green, and from there you can click left screen or left side or right side, and you could do split windows that way. Number 9 is report tools. So accountant users only. So that means maybe bookkeepers or accountants that have accountant specific versions of QuickBooks. So this might not apply to everyone, but they have something called accountant tools up here in the top. And when you click in there and you click report options, you can choose to run your report automatically with a certain report window. So let's say you're doing taxes and you're pulling all of the reports from the year prior. You're obviously not going to do that in the year that it happened. You're going to be doing this later or in the beginning of the next year. You can click last year instead of having to scroll every single time you run a report. And then you would go to report and you would go to balance sheet. I will forewarn you, it doesn't work in this sample company, but instead of having to scroll down to last year, it would auto-populate your balance sheet automatically with last year's information. This also has the functionality to pick cash flow accrual accounting reports. You can use last quarter to also help you if you're doing quarterly reporting. But this is a great functionality for accountant users only. And then my last tip is report batching, which is available to all users. And we can do something very similar that the accountant can do. We're going to, let's say that you need to pull for your accountant or your bank, you need to run your balance sheet, your P&L, and your AR aging, which is a pretty common package. You would go to balance sheet, and we'll do this as last year, and save customization. When you click into save information. Right here, it says add this to a group, and we're going to add to a new group. We're going to call this annual report. Click add, and that'll add a new group for you. And it's right here because it's the only group I have. And then click save. So we wanted, if you remember, we wanted 3 reports. So I'm going to do the same with the profit and loss. Go to last year, save customization, and then click your annual report this time. You don't have to add a new one. Click save. And then your accounts receivable aging summary. And we'll do this as of last year, run report. And then annual reports again and click save. So what this allows you to do is if we go back to the report list and click custom report, you'll see your annual reports and which ones are included. You can also tell that you have all of last year's data within the date range. Now you can pull these all at once and they will all automatically populate into one PDF if we click export as PDF. This way you're not having multiple different PDFs for all of the different files. If we open this, we'll see the AR aging summary, the balance sheet, and the profit and loss all in one PDF. You can create as many or as few of these as you need. So if you need an annual report, a quarterly report, and a monthly report, this is a great way to standardize those reportings and you don't have to go in every time. And those are all of my tips and tricks for you.
All right, Eva, before we pass it to Steve, we did have a question come in. Do tags replace classes? If so, can tags be set up so that they can be simply selected then rather than typed each time?
So tags is a header line sorting. So in this case, if you have the options of class and location, remember that classes are typically line items. So if you have an invoice from a heating and cooling company and they do plumbing and HVAC and electrical work, each of those lines can have a class. You cannot do that with tags. But locations, so Buffalo location, Rochester location, Albany location, that's where you would substitute a tag. Because that's at the header level, so it encompasses the entire invoice. What was the second part of that question? Oh, yeah. So I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't have to type it in every time. Once I'm in tags and I set them up, I would just select it. I don't have to type it, but you do have to select it just as you would any other item in an invoice.
Great, perfect. Hopefully that answered the questions for you. And I do have another question that, yeah, we did answer it, okay. Michael also has a question on tags and classes. So before I move on to the next one, would you use tag or class when you want to identify by customer?
So you can, I guess I have follow-up questions.
All right, maybe Michael needs to have a conversation with them afterwards, but I don't know if you have a.
That has a little bit more nuances because you can also assign classes to customers. So if you don't mind reaching out, or I will reach out to them afterwards, just because that gets a little bit more in depth, but you can do somewhat of the functionality, yes.
Okay, so it's a little deeper in the weeds on that one. I do have a question from Rob that I'm going to pass over to Debbie. Are there concerns with data security using online programs and working through any Google products? Does the end user license agreement require users to, got him cut off on his question, require users to allow use of their data?
So that's a very specific and technical question. And I think I would refer you to the Intuit Online Security Center, which could be very helpful in providing those specific details that you're looking for. but sort of on a more higher level, Intuit uses a industry recognized security and virus safeguards for keeping financial data private and protected. All data is password protected, firewall protected servers, and encrypted technology. That's all the same technology that's used by the world's top banks. So they store their data on Intuit managed systems. They satisfy all of the data residency laws for which you're located, and all their data is stored in the cloud on Amazon Web Services. So data is protected by multiple layers of network, storage, and physical access security. But again, if you want more physical or more specific details, I would recommend checking on the Intuit Online Security Center.
Okay, so that is getting all of our questions answered so far. Again, throw any in as we continue along. Otherwise, I am going to hand it over to Steve to do tech stack integration.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Steve. I'll be going over the tech stack integration. And we can start with our first one, which is a feature of QBO called QBO Bill Pay. This will be your spot in QBO where you can streamline your bill pay. So to start, QBO Bill Pay leverages AI to read your bills when they hit your inbox and will enter your data automatically. They'll be ready for your review. So basically, when the bill hits your inbox, QBO will pre-fill the vendor GL account amount for you to review and edit. So it saves you time with the manual entry. QBO Bill Pay has 3 different plans. It has the basic plan, the premium plan, and the elite plan. Under the elite bill pay plan, QBO will allow you to assign roles and permissions on who can create, approve, and pay bills. So you have 3 different users in QBO. You'll have your bill clerk, which will enter and post the bills, your bill approver, who can approve the bills, and then your bill payer, who will be paying the bills. So you have those 3 users in place for your separation of duties, which is nice to have under the elite bill plan. Under the premium and elite plan, QBO Bill Pay will issue 1099s for no additional fee. So by having all your vendor data centralized in QBO, when January rolls around, you'll be pretty efficient with your 1099 process, but it'll also be nice that you won't have any additional fees. QBO Bill Pay will cover that for you. And then the pricing with the 3 different plans, it ranges anywhere from $0 a month, which is a basic plan that allows you to have 5 free ACHs a month. The premium plan gives you up to 40 free ACHs a month. And then with the elite plan, you have unlimited, which is great. And then there's a 50-cent charge for every extra ACH transaction. And then check payments for all plans are $1.50 per transaction. So they have a plan for pretty much everybody. Us on our side, we recommend this for our smaller clients that have lower volume of AP bills to process each month. All right, so our next app is Bill, formerly known as Bill.com. We recommend this for more of our medium-sized clients that have more AP bills to be paid monthly. Just due to it's a more robust system, in our opinion. But same as QBO Bill Pay, Bill will leverage AI to read your bills when they hit your inbox. It'll pre-fill pretty much everything, the vendor, GL account, and the amount. So all you have to do is go in and edit the bill to fit your needs. Bill.com, similar to QBO, the elite plan will provide different roles for your users. So you can have a data entry clerk and an approver. So you have those separation of duties in place as well. You can process ACH, wires, and check payments all through Bill under the same module, which is great. It's super efficient. And then one unique thing about Bill is you can invite your vendor to connect to their Bill.com account when you set them up to be paid. And then your vendor can go in and set up their banking information, enter their tax ID, enter their address and the way they want to be paid. So it saves you a lot of time. And then the pricing for Bill, they do charge a little more than QBO Bill Pay. It's about $55 per user per month. And then there is a 49-cent charge per ACH transaction and $1.69 for each individual check payment. And then the next app that we use is called Dext. We refer to this as our digital filing cabinet. For Dext, you can use it for both AP invoices and sales invoices to sync up to QBO, which is great. Similar to both Bill and QBO Bill Pay, it will leverage AI to read your invoice when it hits the inbox, and it'll pre-fill everything for you. The one unique thing about Dext, in our opinion, is when the actual bill hits your inbox and you enter it and you sync it over to QBO, the physical copy of that bill will go over to QBO as well. So if you go to that transaction, that bill or invoice, you can see in the attachment in QBO the actual copy of that bill that came over from Dext. So instead of going back and forth between Dext and QBO, everything will be in QBO for you, which is super good. And then Dext will allow you, if you could go back, thanks. Dext will allow you to scan and manage receipts anywhere using email or mobile devices. And then they have a variety of plans for small and medium-sized businesses that range from $19 a month to $85 a month, depending on your volume. And then the last app that I'll be hitting on, Sastant. So this app is great if you have, if you need to import bulk transactions into QBO. It can handle heavy volumes pretty good. So say you're converting to QBO from your legacy platform and you have all your transactions in Excel. This is the app that you want to use for that, to get all that data into QBO. So like I mentioned, you can mass import, export, edit, or delete transactions in QBO with this. You can pretty much work with any transaction in QBO, from customer invoices and payments to vendor expenses and checks. And then the key feature in the past was journal entries, which we utilized this app with. But now that QBO added their journal entry feature, we'll have to weigh the pros and cons. But the journal entry upload is huge through Sastant in the past. And then I know a lot of clients, and we get weary about importing a lot of transactions into QBO. Sastant does provide a review function before exporting to QBO. So when you export your file, you can go and review, check with GL account, make sure all the amounts are correct. So that'd be great. And then there is an error page. So if any transactions don't make it over to QBO, you can check out the error page and check out the error messages and correct them in real time, and then re-upload them into QBO. And then pricing, Sastant has 4 different plans, ranging depending on your volume that you need to upload into QBO. So depending on volume, you can have a plan that's $15 a month all the way up to $100 a month. So it's a good variety there. And then I think next will be Debbie on bookkeep, or do you have a question up here?
Yeah, we do have a question that came in. Is the QBO JE upload feature live yet?
I believe so. We noticed it in our clients last week, and I actually did a test and it seemed to work nicely. So I believe it is live.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
All right, and now heading over to Debbie for bookkeep.
Thank you, Carolyn and Steve. My name is Debbie Shanowski. I'm part of the small business department here at Tronconi-Sagara. So I'd like to talk to you about the bookkeep integration, which is a revenue and financial automation platform to simplify your recording of e-commerce, retail, and restaurant sales. To better serve today's customer demands, many traditional brick and mortar retailers and restaurants are embracing the e-commerce and digital payment systems like never before. While these technologies enable businesses to significantly expand their reach and revenue potential, they exponentially increase the complexity of their owners' accounting responsibilities. In the past, most sales were generated in store and owners only had to reconcile sales with payments in cash, checks, and credit cards, making it relatively easy to maintain their general business ledgers and analyze the effectiveness of their marketing efforts. Today's business owners now deal with a wide variety of sales and payment feeds coming from many different vendors. Accurately accounting and recording from these various platforms can be a daunting and time-consuming task. Some of the challenges faced by the business owners include, number one, inconsistencies in the information reporting. Sales platforms and payment processors have different ways of reflecting the data, making it challenging to navigate and consolidate. Some report gross sales, some are reporting net sales. Where are the refunds reported? How are my discounts being presented in the calculations? Number two, timing of deposits, which do not coincide with the timing of the sales transactions. Credit card payment processing takes several days, and not all credit card processors take the same amount of time to process. Number three, human error. Incorrect recording and data input errors result in inaccurate financial reporting, which can impair business decisions and can be detrimental to your bottom line. One of the most common mistakes in recording sales is reporting the sales based on the deposits made into the bank. This will understate your sales. Bank deposits do not give consideration to many other funds collected and customer charges, which may include processing fees, discounts, reserves, sales tax, shipping, refunds, gift cards, and many others. An Amazon deposit of $82,000 may truly represent $135,000 of sales. In this example, the deposit captures only 60% of the revenue that is truly from the sale of products. Bank deposit dates do not reflect the proper sales transaction date, resulting in cash basis of recording rather than accurately reporting the sale on the date of the sale, which is true accrual accounting. Multi-channel retail and e-commerce accounting is hard. However, with the automation of Bookkeep, it doesn't have to be. Let Bookkeep be your accounting assistant and take on the heavy lift of e-commerce accounting and automate best practices. Bookkeep is a sales and sales tax automation tool that automatically posts accrual-based daily sales summary financials to QuickBooks Online. Bookkeep automatically reconciles the payment deposits received to match bank fee transactions. Once Bookkeep is set up and transactions are mapped to your general ledger, you can set it and forget it. This allows business owners to focus time and energy on growing their business. There are over 60 e-commerce apps, POS systems, and payment platforms which Bookkeep will integrate into your QuickBooks Online. Some examples include Shopify, Amazon, Square, PayPal, and many others. Bookkeep summarizes your daily transactions from each of your sales channels, POS systems, and platforms, organizing and posting all the data into the proper general ledger accounts. Sales, sales tax, transaction fees, gift cards, reserves, and tenders received are all accurately recorded, timely, and efficiently. Month-end reconciliations are simplified and accurate, providing confidence and peace of mind every business owner needs. Summary review of net sales posted from all sales channels are received in a daily email, and they provide excellent customer service. The pricing of Bookkeep is based on your annual sales revenues and the number of sales channels that you choose to link into QuickBooks. With Bookkeep, multi-channel retail and e-commerce accounting is not hard. It's automated. This app will save you a significant amount of time each day, freeing up hours each month. One of my clients has told me that this saves them a ridiculous amount of time every day. Let us help you connect your sales and payment platforms with Bookkeep to provide accurate and timely information in QuickBooks Online. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Debbie. think we've gotten a lot of the questions answered, but I'm going to turn it over to Chuck to kind of wrap things up. If you still have some questions, feel free to put them in the chat in the question section, and we will get them answered for you.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. We heard from Margaret, who gave us some insight on when accounting outsourcing might be right for you, and tips and tricks with Eva were super informative. I learned quite a bit, so thank you, Eva. And Steve took us through QBO, bill pay, bill, Dext, and Sassant. And Debbie took us through Bookkeep. All super helpful applications. Some might be right for you. If you've heard of any today that you'd like a little bit more information on, please feel free to reach out. Thank you. Just a reminder, QBO is constantly upgrading features to make it more robust. If you're currently using desktop and you're ready to consider moving to QBO, that's something we can help you with. And also, TSA is privy to some improved pricing or some discounted pricing with QBO. So you definitely would like to go through us. We can save you some money. And again, if you're interested in any more information on the applications discussed or just weren't comfortable typing a question in the chat, feel free to reach out to any one of us. I've got contact information on the next slide. So thank you again. I really hope you enjoyed today's webinar. If you found this helpful, please let us know in the evaluation, and we will consider doing more of these in the future. And we do have a question before we wrap up.
Yes, we do have two more that came in. So I think the first one I'm going to pass over to Debbie. Will Bookkeep remit state sales taxes?
Yes, Bookkeep has just enhanced their services to work with to gather and remit sales tax. So you can reach out to sales tax or myself, or reach out to Bookkeep and myself to get you further information on that. But yes, it is a function built into Bookkeep.
Great, thank you. And there is one more question that has come in. It's a little bit more lengthy of a question, so I'm not going to read it all. I don't know if anybody wants to take it or if we want to move it offline with that person. Okay, I'm getting an offline. This will be answered for you, Deborah Kelly. And let me see if there's anything else that has come in. Is it possible to create an invoice using inventory with current inventory items and value added from outside processors? Who wants this one?
I think that one's a reach out.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Jeff, it looks like we will reach out to you directly on this one. Yes, so I will send you the slides and handouts this afternoon with a link to the recorded session. If you are still in the webinar, if you go to the handouts, you can grab a quick copy there also. So feel free to grab anything before we log off today. Does anybody have any other questions? If you want to throw something in there quickly, we will answer it for you, because I think we do have a couple of minutes left in our day. Otherwise, we will see you on the next topic. As I mentioned, you'll get an evaluation right after this webinar ends. And then this afternoon, I'll send you an email with a copy of the slides, the tips and tricks list, and a link to the recorded session. So I think we're good today. If anybody has anything else to add from our panel of experts here.
No, that's all from this group. So thanks again. Our contact information is on the slide, and these slides will be available, as Carolyn said. You may want to look back at them with respect to some of the applications. So thank you again for joining us during lunch, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.